Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Lailatul Kamarah binti Murad and my metric number is 10DKM20F1008 and now I'm going to present 7 steps of process and procedures of making chocolate bars in the factory. And then my partners Wardia will proceed to the another 7 step of making chocolate bars. Firstly, the ripe cocoa is picked from a tree. This process is done by manually using human labor. In this process, usually the workers use the knife or special knife to pluck the ripened cocoa. So make sure the knife is sharp and the workers know how the cutting technique when plucking the cocoa because it will affect the productivity of cocoa for the next time. Here's the precautionary step for the workers. Wear boot and glove during spraying insecticide and plucking the cocoa. The other precaution is wash hand after plucking or spraying insecticide to prevent the agrochemicals contact. Next, for the second step, once the seeds are red, the white cocoa beans are removed. So for this process, the workers must place the wooden balls and sit across each other and using a little machete that's not sharp to break the cocoa pod. The precaution step while separating the pod is be careful when using a machete to avoid some injuries occurs. The next third step is following a period of fermentation, they are laid out on a large tray so they can dry under the sun. The process of fermentation helps to produce a deeper and richer chocolate flavor. It is the process of converting organic acids using microorganisms, yeast, or bacteria under anaerobic conditions. The precautionary step for this process is once the fermentation occurs, the workers must be alert to make sure the fermentation is done in a good and perfect condition to obtain a high quality. After that is the drying process. The cocoa beans are brought to the cocoa drying warehouse facility. The workers need to ensure that all cocoa beans are dried evenly. And next, the cocoa beans are placed into large sacks and delivered to the factory. So it is important to do this quickly since the beans begin to germinate as soon as they are removed from the pots. The next precaution step is do not force yourself to lift a heavy sack as it can result in injury to bones and muscle. And then at the factory, the cocoa beans are roasted at 550 degrees Celsius. This process uses machines, so the safety measures need to be taken when we are faced with relatively high temperatures. So wear a leather apron and thick gloves when operating the machines. After roasting, the beans are winnowed to remove the shell from around the beans, leaving only the roasted cocoa nib. The winnowing and cracking occurs in this process to get the cocoa nib, but the cocoa texture does not smooth enough. In this process also involve the machinery use.
Thank you, Leila. My name is Wardia binti Abdullah. My matrix number is 10DKM19F2011. So the next step is grinding process. After roasting and winnowing, the cocoa nibs are ground into a paste called chocolate liqueur. Grinding is the process by which cocoa nibs are ground into cocoa liqueur, which is also known as sweetened chocolate or cocoa mess. The grinding process generates heat and the dry granular consistency of the cocoa nib is then turned into a liquid as the high amount of fat contained in the nib melts. So the safety precaution, this process never touch rotating drums when operating the machine. After that, mix process. The other flavor ingredients are added to the chocolate liqueur. The cocoa liquor is mixed with cocoa butter and sugar. In the case of milk chocolate, fresh and sweetened, condensed or roller dry, low heat powdered whole milk is added depending on the individual manufacturer's formula and manufacturing methods. So the safety precaution is switch off the machine in case you notice unusual sounds, overheating or blockage. So the next process is conching process. Next, the chocolate past is kneaded with the conching machine to deliver increase some smoothness, viscosity, and flavor. A process called concealing is done, which basically involves kneading the processed scrap from the rollers in heat mixture tanks at 60 degrees Celsius. So the safety precaution this is secure lost clothing or long hair before operating. So the next process is tempering process. The still warm cones chocolate is placed in a tempering machine so that it can be slowly and steadily cooled. Tempering provides uniform skin and a crisp bite to the and chocolate. So the safety precaution is always place the machine on a hard, stable and flat surface. So the next process is cooling process. The liquid chocolate is poured into molds which give it shape and the molds take to then that they are evenly filled before cooling. After the tempering of chocolate followed by cooling, the thickened chocolate mass is poured into molds for subsequent hardening. This is the principal process for manufacturing a luscious chocolate bars. So the safety precaution is reach out and call technicians when the machine malfunctions. So the next steps, next process, warped process. Next, the chocolate bar is warped in foil with a whipping machine. Protects the chocolate from contamination while also leading it a cancy appearance and enabling the mix to brand their product. After loading the wafer material and chocolate of the required size and shape in the wafer machine, the machine wets the chocolate, cuts the wafers and seal it. Thereafter, the wrapped chocolate are packaged into carton. So the lastly is packaging process. For packaging of cocoa beans, usually just bags of 60 until 65 kg are used, which are the transported through the ship, railroad or trucks. Ideal condition to be maintained during handling or transaction is the temperature between 50 until 30 degrees Celsius and relative humidity of 70% until 75%, along with a water content of between 6 to 9%. So, thank you. Bye-bye.